welcome to SVG TV News for Tuesday, January 15, 2019. I am Yvesta Bones with the details. SVG TV would like to apologize to viewers for last evening's abrupt end of our newscast. This was due to technical difficulties. We regret the inconvenience caused. Opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday says there should be further negotiations on the salary agreement that was accepted in the absence of the two major unions, the SVG Teachers Union and the Public Service Union. Last Friday, the government's proposed salary increases of 1% retroactive to July 2018, 1.5% from January 2019, and 2% for 2020 were accepted by the National Workers Movement and the Commercial, Technical and Allied Workers Union, which represents mostly non-pensionable government workers. The leadership of the SVG Teachers Union, the Public Service Union, along with the Police Welfare Associations, stayed away from the meeting last Friday after they were asked to leave their cell phones outside. The meeting, however, went ahead with the government officials and members of the National Workers Movement and the Commercial, Technical and Allied Workers Union. In an interview with SVG TV News today, Dr. Friday said that it is in the interest of the public that such negotiations be held with all unions.
It's a matter for negotiation. We've always said that, you have a party which is the government on one hand and the unions representing the workers on the other, and that there should be negotiation in good faith. The demands that the unions put forward, they would see those as in the interest of their membership, and the government as the employer then has a duty to make a counteroffer and to basically for them to negotiate in good faith. That's all we're asking for. I'm not setting an arbitrary figure to say, well, what is the amount that is ideal or best in the situation. I leave that up to the representatives of the workers to do so. And it seems to me that the negotiations have not taken place in the way they're supposed to, because there was supposed to be a meeting last Friday, which the largest unions, the Teachers Union and the Public Service Union representatives did not attend the meeting. So I don't see how they can make an agreement without those two major players involved in the process.
Dr. Friday said the government is doing the opposite of what it promised workers before they took up office.
We want to see that the process, that first of all, that the workers, whether they're in the public service or in the private sector, that the workers are respected. We've had a tradition, a very proud tradition of industrial relations where unions represent the workers, and the employers have been made to come to the table. They've fought very hard for those rights. And what has happened under this administration is that over the years, they have basically not negotiated with the unions. They just simply imposed their view as to what is a fair wage, which is quite the opposite from the position that they took when they were in opposition, when the Eustace government had offered 12%, I believe, and they said no, that they could get 30%, that the union should hold out. And as soon as they came into office, they did the opposite and they froze the salaries of public sector workers.
Speaking on the recent court ruling against the Public Service Commission, in which the judge deemed the non-promotion of several public officers unfair, Dr. Friday said it is a sorry state of affairs for public servants.
That the positions are not being posted, just favored persons are informed and they apply, and when people who feel they're qualified apply, they're told that the position has been filled, and this has been happening for years under this administration. So how can you say that the public service, that people who have put in the effort, who have trained, who have the expertise, and who are entitled to an equal shot at promotion and at new positions are not given that chance? And we want to say that in the interest of the country, because the public service is vital to how the country goes forward. It's vital to how the modernization of our country. And if the people who are holding the positions are not happy, then of course everybody suffers. So for the good of the country, we need to follow the regulations to ensure that fairness is the order of the day, that the law is followed in the process of selection and promotion of members of the public service.
Meanwhile, head of the Public Service Union, Elroy Boucher, has made it clear that the two unions, which agreed to the proposed salary increases offered by the government, cannot negotiate on behalf of public sector workers in the country. At a news conference today, Boucher said never in their history have they entered into discussions or negotiations over salaries for public sector workers with the Commercial and Technical Allied Workers Union and the National Workers Movement.
The last time we negotiated properly, in the full essence of what the negotiation was in classification. There was a teachers union, the Police Welfare Association and the Public Service Union. Nowhere was there a CTW or NWM because they do not represent bona fide public officers. If this is truly a negotiation, as has been stated in some media, if it is truly a negotiation, the moment it broke down before the start of a meeting, it will have to be restarted. If it was truly a negotiation. Because you cannot negotiate in the absence of a negotiating partner. And the negotiating partners for the public sector workers and the police, and the teachers union, the public service union, and the police welfare association. So what transpired there and was put out in the media is a farce, it's a joke, it's a mockery.
The PSU president said that he is appalled that after a wage freeze, any trade unionist or trade union will enter into an agreement for a 1% salary increase for workers.
It would never happen. Because if for a 17 years and agreements have really heard of a 1% being offered. Effectively what will happen is that you have 0% for 2017, in which you have 3% inflation. So nothing to compensate for the loss in earning power for 2017, and you have a 1%, which is effectively like a 0.5%, because it's 1% for half year. So if you split it, it's like 0.5%, more or less. And that will happen in 2018. 2018. So they, in my view, sat there wearing their ULP political hats. Not Australians. And journalists could just do research to see if Burns have ever negotiated a 1% salary increase for any of the private sector workers that you represent, or even know that. That will be rejected forthwith. They are political operatives.
In reference to the recent court ruling which found that the Public Service Commission acted unfairly when it did not promote several public officers, Boucher said the ruling speaks volumes and that the entire board of the Public Service Commission should have been removed.
You have these sort of wrongs being perpetrated on public officers. The correct thing to do is to try and get it right. Try and correct the wrongs that ensure that they're not happening again. To send that strong message that it will not be tolerated. The Public Service Union have no confidence whatsoever in the Public Service Commission currently as they are. We have no confidence, no trust in Cecil Blazer Williams and his team. And the public officers themselves have no confidence and no trust in Cecil Blazer Williams. It was a time for us to have a fresh start.
Digicel and the Caribbean Communications Infrastructure Program has rolled out the fiber optic cable that will link St. Vincent with Grenada and the 5 Grenadine Islands, namely Bequia, Mustique, Canouan, Union Island and Carriacou. Today, at a consultation held with the managers of the project, Crystal Francis, Digicel project manager, explained the program that the government agreed to.
Lot 1 of this CARSIP project for St. Vincent delivers a full Cisco network with a primary and secondary core, centralized security, distribution of access networks in a fiber ring protected with a backbone. 100% of this fiber to all sites in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and a full 10 gig and 1 gig line speed dedicated to the government. Under this G1, there will be 225 devices connected within these government buildings. Additionally, there will be the delivery of a government PBX service, which is fully redundant, and this centralized systems will provide IP-PBX services to all government locations. This includes a SVG 911 PBX, which is fully redundant and will be located at the police headquarters. Within the IPPBX system, there will be over 1,300 devices connected.
Nigel Irwin of Deep Cable said that the increase in broadband will be seen across SVG, and persons who are not able to have proper signal close to Lassofre will now be able to do so.
And fibre connectivity between the two islands of St Vincent and Grenada. Initial deployment of 40 gigs circuit to the government is a fraction of what this cable will ultimately deliver. Currently, and I'll explain a little more on the following slide, Digicel already owns a submarine fibre optic cable between the two main islands, but as has been explained, this cable will supplement and improve greatly upon the existing microwave links to the Grenadine Islands, which are by definition subject to atmospheric conditions. And with a fibre optic cable, the capacity is travelling by the speed of light. Bandwidth is certainly a great deal more improved from your microwave links. More resiliency, redundancy and bandwidth to the islands. Not shown on this map, but I'll show it in a later one, is an existing, additional submarine cable that will link the top of the main island of St Vincent, where the Soufriere volcano prevents terrestrial round island connectivity. So we'll be installing a separate festoon between the villages of Chateau Belair and Oria.
The Caribbean Communications Infrastructure Program is a project initiated by the World Bank and coordinated by the Caribbean Telecommunications Union. It was designed to bridge gaps in the region's ICT infrastructure with the aim of fostering development, improving public service efficiency, and enabling ICT innovation in its participating countries. The Argyle International Airport is this week hosting a banner display in an effort to sensitize the public on coastal vulnerability and mitigation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The AIA is collaborating with the University of Liverpool to host the banner display with educational content regarding coastal vulnerability. The displays are set up in the International Departure Check-in area at the AIA. Speaking at a media launch today, head of the team from the University of Liverpool, Andy Platter, said their mission is to ensure the protection of future coastal population by ensuring that coastal communities are more resilient to the effects of extreme weather patterns, including hurricanes.
And so it's that combination of focusing on threats that come from events as well as long-term trajectories that are important to us. So the exhibition, when you have opportunity to come and visit, will talk about issues such as sea level rise and storms. Thank you. And it will detail some of those threats. In addition to that, it will talk about means that we have available to us, tools that we have for better characterising and understanding the coast through monitoring and through the use of models. Monitoring is extremely important because that's the way in which we gather data. And the data are important in relation to information, so we can understand the threats to the coast, the rate at which it erodes, sediment transport patterns, and so forth.
The general public is being encouraged to visit the banner display to learn more about tools that can help to mitigate coastal vulnerability. The Ministry of Agriculture plans to clamp down on imported fruits and vegetables that are deemed unsafe for consumption now that there is a facility available here to carry out tests. On Monday, the Compost facility at Orange Hill was handed over to the government of SVG by the Taiwanese embassy. As we hear in this report by Larissa Pugsy-Kidd, the facility will ensure that fruits and vegetables produced locally use biofertilizers and biopesticides.
The 7.2 million EC new compost production facility is now operational at Orange Hill. The project, which focused on the organization and improving fruits and vegetables production technology, was executed over a 4-year period. This was done bearing in mind that there is a high dependency on fertilizers and pesticides for the growth of fruits and vegetables. Minister of Agriculture Sabote Caesar said that the fertilizers are unsafe and announced that an intensified surveillance will be carried out this first quarter to ensure that that the products coming into the country meet required standards.
The results would have to be presented formally to you by a technician. I've seen the results. The work will continue in the first quarter. There will be a compilation. And based on the results, those importers will be approached to cease and desist from bringing those commodities into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'm very serious about that.
Minister Caesar said that the procurement of equipment and training in analysis of pesticides were done, which will give support to agricultural cooperatives. Caesar added that Vincentians will be at an advantage of growing and producing healthy fruits and vegetables using the biofertilizers and biopesticides, and noted that they are now looking towards developing a bioherbicides, which will enhance the growing demand of food safety.
We also need help now with a bioherbicide. Because if you have the biofertilizer and the biopesticide, we also need the bioherbicide. And once we get all of those, we can now, even before the bioherbicide, we are in an excellent position to do several things. One, produce safer food for Vincentians, and farmers and cooperatives can market their produce as produce which is organic. And as my brother is helping me, we could create a niche market.
The Taiwan government funded the project and the construction of the facility. The project also involves the establishment of 8 farmers' cooperatives producing different agricultural commodities. Training of farmers was also carried out under the project. Taiwan Ambassador Calvin Ho said that they are pleased with the project as it reflects well on the good relations between the government of SVG and Taiwan.
We said that, according to this note, enhance the farmers' revenue to US dollar 2.21 million. Yeah, if this is that's a great achievement.
The compost facility is also expected to develop cultivation models for watermelon, pineapple, sweet pepper, tomatoes, and carrots. Reporting for SVG TV News, I am Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
Health practitioners came together on Monday to design and customize an integrated diabetes care model for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is the first phase of a 3-year project with the Taiwan government, which will help to control and prevent diabetes in SVG. Director of Medical Services in Taiwan, Dr. Yongwei, said that they are in SVG to help with the building of the model, which will be localized.
We sincerely hope that through this program, we can contribute to help to establish a team-based care model for diabetes patients in St. Vincent and Grenadines. My hospital actually is the first one to implement the team-based care model in Taiwan. So we now have more than 20 years of experience of this team-based care.
SVG's project coordinator, Dr. Hamilton, said that there is need to improve the standards of diabetic care for patients and that they need to keep abreast with changes that are taking place internationally.
Will not be something that is cast in stone because, as you know, new evidence come up every year, and as such the model will be open for refining and readjusting as new evidence come out. Because, for instance, the American Diabetes Association document the recommendation with respect to screening for diabetes was to use 2 different samples from clients, but recognizing the issues of loss to follow-up, not being able to get persons to come in for that second sample for diagnosing diabetes, they have now, in the 2019 guidelines, they have revised that to now say you can diagnose using one sample from the clients, but with two different testing modalities.
Dr. Hamilton said that adherence and compliance of diabetic care is an issue, and the need for pre-testing of the diseases must be enforced.
Diabetes, we know that there are a number of clients that are walking around, number of us with pre-diabetes, and we do not know it. Most times we go to the healthcare facility when we have overt symptoms such as passing a lot of urine or drinking a lot and losing weight. But there are persons with pre-diabetes who may not have these symptoms that we need to diagnose. It has been shown that even with pre-diabetes, you can start having some of the issues in your blood vessels and also in your nerves.
Vincentians have been encouraged to maximize the resources in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The encouragement comes from Hugh Stewart, one of the founding members of the St. Vincent Automotive Cooperative Society Limited, which today launched its 50th anniversary celebration activities under the theme 50 and Forging Ahead. Hugh says many businesses in the country have the potential to grow, but because of lack of vision and trust, some are either forced to close up shop or remain stagnant.
To cooperate means trust. Trust in each other. We have had many societies, supermarket, for example, that have gone through because of lack of trust. But we have plenty opportunities to cooperate. Agriculture for one, shipping for another one, fishing, hoteling. Do we have any of those as cooperative? Do we? We are lacking, sad to say, in cooperative and trust.
Stewart also encourages Vincentians to get involved in joint capital ventures, which he says has tremendous benefits if done correctly.
The banks are charging us for keeping our money in the bank. Why? Why don't we use our own money? Joint ventures, businesses, cooperatives, companies, partnerships. All these are available to us as Vincentians. We have to trust each other. Besides that, a little further, I foresee that one of these days, this gas station co-op will be sourcing fuel. Just people bring fuel here, we can go there. We invest there too. There's nothing stopping us. The Americans do it, the Europeans do it. Texaco, Rubis. We can be owners of Rubis too. We don't trust each other. That's our problem.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the St. Vincent Automotive Cooperative Society Limited, Alistair Alexander, says 50 years is a major milestone for an institution, and that during this time of celebration, it is important to look back at their journey over the last 50 years and look ahead to the challenges they still have to face as a cooperative.
Over the years, there have been times when we feared for survival. But that is history, and hopefully never to be repeated. We are optimistic about the future and extremely proud of our latest achievement, our headquarters building, constructed at a cost of approximately 1.5 million Eastern Caribbean dollars. Our greatest asset has been the support of our dedicated members and hard-working officers and staff who have contributed significantly to our achievements. Special mention must be made of the building committee and their role in the acquisition of this, our home and headquarters. Going forward, in the face of increased competition and a challenging economic environment, we have to continue to be financially prudent in all our undertakings. We must ensure uniform high standards of service with special attention to safety and sustainability.